let's do that. Just give him all the money he wants. Give him everything. Go on, give him everything. Give him a castle. It's at the club. Is a brand new.
Give him an Mbappe style.
Exactly. Give him shares in the club.
Have they not realised that doesn't work at Arsenal? It didn't work for Ozil, didn't work for Aubameyang. There's no point in doing that nonsense. Transfer Social, Ade Oladipo, voice that you just heard, Anton Ferdinand, Harry Symeou as well. Harry, let's stick with you. This is your club, Arsenal. Saka, we spoke about it at the top. I know you're not worried about Saka, but in terms of, and let's move away from the Saka conversation. We've already had it. In terms of what you think you need going forward, is it just obvious you need a striker because Lacazette's gone? Or is there a bit more? Few more pieces. I mean, Tierney's always injured. Partey's always injured. We don't know what's going to go on with Xhaka. How much more do you need to kind of crash into that top four?
I think we probably need 3-4 top players to come in. I think last summer was the summer where there was a lot of heavy lifting. There was a lot of exits, a lot of departures that were kind of already settled but haven't actually happened yet. Like Lucas Torreira, he's on loan at Fiorentina. We know that he's not probably going to come back. Bellerin's another one. Guendouzi. There was a load of them that, although they weren't officially done then, you kind of set the stall out for them to happen this summer. So there was a lot of heavy lifting in terms of both outgoings and incomings. We brought in 6-7 players last summer. I think now is the time for Arsenal to take stock and try and add maybe less players, but of a higher calibre to take this team to the next level. So for me, you got to think about the fact that at centre-back, we've got William Saliba to come back. Had a really good season at Marseille. French.
Wasn't he Young Player of the Year in France?
He was, yep. And
Does
he was
he want to come back?
Well,
that's the interesting one. I wouldn't.
There's been a lot of discussion about that, but he came out maybe a couple of days ago. I think it was on Sunday at the weekend and said, "I'm going back to Arsenal. I want to, prove myself." I know words don't mean very much, but
is he better than Gabriel or Ben White?
For me, I haven't seen enough of him to say definitely, categorically, he starts ahead of Gabriel and Ben White. And Anton will know better, but I think at centre-back, sometimes it's about partnerships as well.
Yeah.
And I think that Gabriel, who is very physical, can be a little bit raw at times, can be the one that steps out and clashes into people and puts himself about. I think Ben White tempers him a little bit by being that little bit more calm, a little bit more calculated, a good reader of the game and a good distributor of the ball. So I think the two of them works really, really well. And I don't really know which category Saliba fits into most out of those two yet.
What foot is Saliba? He's
right-footed. Yeah.
So when we look at the way Arteta likes to play, he likes to play with balance. So he likes a left foot on the left and a right foot. So realistically, Saliba's only going to replace Ben White, if anything.
Yeah, it feels like that's the natural replacement. And also, we've had a lot of problems at right back with Tomiyasu, and maybe the idea or the thinking will be, well, then I can move Ben White out to right back when necessary, and Saliba can slot in there.
And that's what the big thing about getting Ben White was. Can play defensive midfielder, can play right back, can play centre back. Obviously, he's best at centre back. In terms of them not making the Champions League, and look, they should have, we're not going to get into it, but how much does that affect them in the transfer market in terms of attracting players, or just players wanting to come and paying a bit more money than they should for players?
Yeah, I think we've got to look at it like this, I think. Man United still have a pull because of the size of the football club. Arsenal ain't that size of a football club anymore, and so they need stuff like Champions League football to get the big players to come, and I think that's where Arsenal are at the moment. I think a few years ago you still had that thing of the great Arsenal, the unbeatables and all that stuff, invincibles and stuff like that. You still had that, but I think now, where it's been so long without having the success that you should have had with the likes of Ozil and stuff at the football club, I think now you need to look at it and go, and I think a lot of the Arsenal fans are looking at it realistically. They're starting to look at it realistically. I think Man United fans are going through a transitional period now where they're not looking at it realistically yet. Arsenal have been there, done that. They're a bit further ahead, and I think they need Champions League football to get the marquee signings again.
Can I counter that a little bit? Say, and the big name they've been linked with for ages now is Gabriel Jesus, who's in and out of the City squad. Like sometimes
I think he's ideal.
I think he's perfect. Surely, though, he won't be looking at Arsenal thinking they're not in the Champions League. Surely he'll be thinking this squad's going to be built around me.
That's
wouldn't he go because of that?
But that comes down to the type. He looks like that type of person. He looks like that type of player. Like he's happy to be moved out to the left or to the right.
Yeah.
He's not one of those. Well, I'm a striker. I'm a centre fireworks. Put me up there. he will do whatever for the team. So he's that type of player.
So,
Okay,
so what,
put
you
me
saying
there.
that you think he'll stay at City because of that?
No, I
I
think
think
he will
he'll
go
go to
there
us, yeah.
because he will look at it and go, this team's going to be built around me.
I think
Yeah.
I think there's a few factors with the Jesus thing why I think it's a realistic thing. Number one, as you say, he looks like the type of player that kind of has been the bridesmaid for a while, wants to be the bride now,
Yeah.
right? And at Arsenal, it is a big football club, maybe not as big as it was before, but it's still a big club.
Of
course.
And he has the opportunity to go there and be the main man, the main number 9. Also, he's got a relationship with Mikel Arteta.
100%.
Yeah.
He knows him as a coach, and you hear from any of those City players, they'll tell you what a good coach he is. Now, there's probably still question marks about him as a manager. Is he quite there yet? No. Has he got a way to go? Yeah, of course he has. But I think that relationship will serve him well. I think Manchester City's relationship with Mikel Arteta will make the negotiation easier slightly than it maybe would be with somebody else.
Yeah.
So I think when you factor in all of those things, you know, it's a deal that makes sense. And then you look at some of the other positions. Yuri Tielemans is somebody that Arsenal are very confident of signing quite early on in this window.
He'd be a lovely acquisition.
Brilliant acquisition in midfield. And when you look at the way Mikel has evolved the midfield of late, whereby he used to play with 2 defensive midfielders, now he plays with 1 defensive pivot in Partey and then 2 number 8s, if you like. Tielemans would fit that role better than Xhaka would, for example, in an attacking sense. So you've got that.
Plus, you got Charlie Patino coming through, who's a fantastic young player. Remember the name.
Yeah, great
Charlie
player.
Patino.
He's a really good player. But also as well, like we're being linked with Zinchenko, who I think again would be ideal. Why? Because I think at international level, especially, he's shown himself to be a very good centre midfielder. But when you've got that Kieran Tierney problem, you've got Zinchenko to come in. I think we've all seen this season that Nuno Tavares is not quite ready to play a long run of games and cover to the same level. So I think Arsenal have got their eyes on some good players.
The only problem that I have with Zinchenko at fullback in an Arsenal team, he will be asked to defend. At City, he's not asked to defend. Fullbacks don't really defend at City because they've got 80% of the ball.
But this is where Arsenal tactically under Arteta have evolved to some degree, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about the Wenger days, if you think about the Emery days after that, one of the big criticisms was both the fullbacks were going every single time and we'd get exposed on the break. Arteta at the moment, he's got a system in place where he's got Tomiyasu, who's probably a centre-back, playing at right-back. And what you can quite clearly see is when Tierney's playing on the left and Arsenal want to bomb on and create that overload in midfield, the 3 of them shift into a back 3. Tomiyasu slots in alongside White and Gabriel, becomes a back 3 and you push him on. So in that system, and Arsenal want to be a possession-based team, I think Zinchenko would have that freedom that Tierney now has to step in the midfield and play the role that he wants to play as well. So I think there's a lot of players that Arsenal
sound
being
like
linked with.
Zinchenko's agent there.
Yeah.
I think he's a great fit. I think he's a great fit.
Yeah.
I think like we got to recognise that
What percentage are you on?
in terms of what.
Zinchenko.
Agent fees. So in terms of the 3, you think to kickstart, so the 3, ideally, Tielemans, Gabriel Jesus, and Zinchenko.
That would be my 3, and that's obviously with Saliba.
That almost sounds like about 170 million. Yeah?
I think with Jesus, you're probably looking at about £50 million,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably fair for him. To be fair,
Okay.
I think with Tielemans, what's being rumoured is that Leicester want 30.
is that
Arsenal,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
because he's only got 1 year left
Yeah.
on his contract. If you get that, that's £80 million. If you can get Zinchenko for 35 million
Good
pounds,
business.
it's a decent window. Saliba coming back, and we've already signed the backup goalkeeper in Matt Turner from MLS, because it looks like Bernd Leno is not going to want to sit around being a number
And
2.
you
anymore.
add to that the signings you made last season that have done well. Ben White, Ramsdale, and Odegaard, by the way.
Yeah,
Special top player. The number 10's almost becoming a thing of the past, and he's there. 1 second, we've still got life in the number 10, so he's really, really good. So look, potentially good summer for Arsenal.
Yeah, it could be. And this is the thing, right? Whenever the transfer window starts, everybody starts panicking. You know, we've got to get these signings done now. It doesn't work like that in football. Let's see where we are at the end of the window and we can judge there. But based on what they've done last summer, I think they've earned the right now for the fan base to just back off for one more summer, let them do their thing, and then we'll judge it come the end of next season.
Indeed. All right, when we come back, I don't know if people are going to be backing off Gareth